Tell me a little bit about your background and your role.
My role with Vertex 1 is Chief Strategy Officer, which needs some explanation. It basically means I'm in charge of our range of products and services and making sure that that range of products and services helps not only to meet the requirements of our utility customers today, but also the requirements that they're going to have in the future.
What changes are you seeing with your customers?
If I were being simplistic about it, I would say it wasn't long ago that utilities saw their relationship as being one with the meter, not a customer. Now utilities are very much focused on customers, and I've even heard the term consumer advocate as almost a next step on from the customer in terms of the nature of the relationship. And we shouldn't overlook the importance of the fact that we talk about it in terms of experience and in terms of relationship, because I don't think it was that long ago that it was all about the transaction. It was all about taking a meter reading, producing a bill, making sure the bill got to the customer and making sure the customer paid. And beyond that, no real desire to have a relationship with the customer. And I think that relationship is important not just because customers now expect a personalised relationship with their utility, but also because it's important, increasingly important, to influence customer behaviour. And that's something that's very difficult to do if you don't have a relationship and you don't have a dialogue with that customer.
Speak to the key challenges in redesigning the processes.
We do see the cycles quickening because that rate of change in expectation is quickening, and that is underlined by also regulatory expectations. I think regulatory pressures are to increase customer satisfaction and to do so at a lower and lower operating cost, and to react swiftly to the changing demands of the customers in the marketplace. So the rate of change, I think, is definitely accelerating. And I think utilities have made significant progress. I think in terms of enabling different channels for interaction, whether it's web self-service, mobile self-service, of course IVR, chat, we're seeing rapid deployment of those channels, but I think challenges come with that rapid deployment, not least of which is, how do I provide a seamless experience to a customer who's interacting across multiple channels? And how do I provide that seamless experience in a way that's satisfactory to the customer?
How do you go from back of mind to front of mind with this relationship?
Yeah, I think one area is to start listening more intently to, it's a glib phrase, the voice of the customer. But I think listening to your customers is important. And running call centres for our clients, we talk about multi-channel, it's very much the talk on the show floor, but we have to also realise that the majority of rich interactions that as utilities we have with our customers occur through the voice channel. So better understanding why our customers are calling, better understanding when the customers are calling, will help us to understand the individuals they really are and start to influence their behaviour. So one of the things that we're looking at closely is how can we use technologies like speech analytics, so I don't have to listen to thousands of calls every day to understand what my customers are talking about, understand what's top of mind for customers. Are they looking for energy efficiency programs that I'm not providing today? Are they concerned about high bills through the winter periods of the year? And speech analytics is one way to better understand the customer so I can relate to that customer better as a way to influencing their behaviour.
What are the keys to implementing the change?
Going back to voice and call centre being the predominant channel, how do we turn call centre agents into multi-channel agents? How do we provide a call centre agent visibility that a customer has just come out of the IVR or just come off the web self-service portal and has been trying to set up a recurring bill payment program? So one of the things that we've done is looked at how can we capture a log of all the interactions a customer has across all the possible channels. So that's not just self-service, it's social media increasingly, it's voice, it's IVR, and provide and expose that view of interactions to the agent when they're dealing with the customer. And of course, if we can expose it to the agent, we can change the way our website responds to a customer, knowing what previous interactions they've had as well. So I hate the phrase, this holy grail of the 360-degree view, and goodness me, we'll probably never get quite to that last degree, but I think as you add channels, it becomes more and more important to see that complete view, because if you can't begin to provide that seamless customer experience.
How is the digital customer affecting your vision?
There are some great websites out there that utilities have put up there, but they're not being used by more than, say, 10, 15, 20% of the customer base. And in part that's because not everybody wants to self-serve, and because without analysing the data, it's very hard to understand which customers you should target to enrol in your web self-service site. So one of the things that we focus on in predictive analytics is what characteristics about the customer, about their behaviour, about where they live, tell us that they're more likely to want to self-serve. And knowing that, let's spend our marketing dollars on those customers to increase enrolment in self-service, increase the satisfaction levels of those customers, and of course from a cost to serve perspective, that helps us to drive some operational efficiency, which is what the regulator is looking for. I think another area where we see a better understanding of customers leading to better results for utilities is really around the energy efficiency and conservation programs. So again, I think utilities have made an enormous stride forward in really putting together very innovative portfolios of energy efficiency and conservation programs. Now they've got to sell them, and most utilities aren't in the business of selling things historically. So how do you sell more effectively? It starts with understanding which customers are more likely to be interested in such programs. So collecting data about your customers helps you to answer that question. And then the other aspect of that is to answer the question, once enrolled, which customers are more likely to change their behaviour in the way that you're seeking to influence behaviour. So it's great that I enrolled another 10,000 customers in an energy saving or peak demand lowering program, but if they don't lower their peak demand, I've not really achieved my goals. So how do I better predict and therefore target customers to be more effective in what I'm trying to do operationally?
What's the role of a customer service representative in this future?
First of all, whilst generally the trend is towards self-service, it's not right for every customer, and understanding that different customers want to interact in different ways, I think is a very important first step on this multi-channel journey. I think what we'll see is a shift of easier customer interactions towards self-service, which means that the call centre agent, in terms of the calls that they're having with customers, are dealing with the more difficult issues. So in many ways those interactions become more sophisticated than they did before. So the easy stuff, the majority of customers will self-serve and will be pleased to self-serve, but in the call centre we'll see the more difficult issues being worked through with customers. I think what we'll also see is I'm going to stop thinking of it as a call centre and start thinking of it as a multi-channel centre. So an agent will not just be answering the phone, the agent will be responding to SMS messages, they'll be responding to emails, they'll be responding to web chat, and they see that for every one problem they solve for a customer on social media, they also fix another 10 customers' problems by posting it. So I think we will see not the replacement or the decline of the call centre, but more a shift from handling calls to handling interactions across a variety of channels. So you asked a question earlier about how to address all of these balancing priorities when resources really are quite limited, particularly in the mid-market. So I think one of the other changes that we're seeing in the marketplace is initiatives like AMI integration, the need to support complex rates, whether it's time of use rate structures, tiered rate structures, or even water budget billing, which obviously is very topical with what we've seen in California recently, is forcing some utilities to face the reality that they're going to have to replace their aging CIS platform. And that's a daunting task. It can be costly, it can be risky, and it can be time consuming, and it can disrupt the continuity of customer experience. So one of the things we're trying to address with Vertex One is how do we lower the time, the cost and the risk to do that by offering utilities the chance to migrate to a cloud-based CIS platform built on best practices that we've established working with 30 million end consumers in the utility industry in the past.